Now we're going to look at a big heavy duty version of what the home improver would normally use in the home, in so much as this is, we call it a paddle mixer. This is a professional kind, but it kind of explains in a bigger way how it works and what it does. We use this for mixing skim plaster in buckets. We mix in buckets around about this size. If we're doing a big ceiling, obviously in the smaller ceiling we'd use a smaller bucket when we don't need so much plaster. But overall, what it does, it's a giant mixer. By using the trigger, you simply place it into the plaster and that will mix it up. On the professional versions that you can hire, there are generally 2 speeds. This is on speed number 1, which for mixing plaster is normally plenty. It's not very often that you put this into speed number 2. Sometimes when we're mixing a latex flooring screed we would use speed number 2, but for skim plaster speed number 1 is normally plenty. As you will see from the lead and the transformer, this is a 110 volt power supply which we have to use on site. You can see more about that in our video on 110 power supplies. There's quite a strong motor in this. This is 1400 watts, and you can see if I put this down on the floor, the blade changing is a bit more difficult from the normal domestic paddle that you would use for mixing up skim plaster, where you would just simply undo the chuck of your electric drill. And that's the reason why I wanted to show you this really. People don't realise that they buy the smaller paddle version from a DIY store. They put it in their electric drill and use that for mixing their plaster, and that's great because it certainly will mix the plaster. However, plaster dust is very, very fine indeed, and it can quite often just get into the electric motor in no time at all. And after 3 or 4 mixes, it's been known to burn the motor of the electric drill out completely. So we always recommend, whether we're on stage presenting or in videos like this, we always recommend that sometimes there's a fine balance to tread between saving money and being counterproductive while trying to do that. In this particular instance, we say that it's counterproductive because if you do burn your drill out after 2 or 3 mixes, it's going to cost you a lot more than the 15 quid it would cost you to hire something like this from your hire shop. So that's why we're down here at Hire Standards, to demonstrate some of this stuff. So to remove the spindle itself, or the paddle itself, simply a couple of spanners. They would come with it if you hired it. So I'm not going to take that all the way off, there's no point, but I will tighten it back up again just so that whoever uses it next, it doesn't come flying off. So that's a really simple operation. The trigger, big, easy to use, simply underneath there, and let that go. Okay, so that's a professional paddle mixer. We would certainly recommend, if you don't hire this particular type, that you ask the guy in the hire shop if he has a smaller drill that's used for plastering that will take you a paddle mixer, which they generally will have. Eventually it will save you money, because if you're going to do a fair bit of plastering, maybe 1 mix is fine. If you're going to do 3, 4, 5 mixes, that powder dust is very damaging to the drill. So there we have it. That's another tool that can be got from Hire Standards, and something that obviously we use all the time, but you might want to think about hiring rather than buying next time.